Before the video starts, I would just like to say that I've launched another campaign. This time the donations are going to go to Project Hope, which is helping families both in Gaza and Lebanon. Last time we hit $100 as our goal, which is amazing. Thank you so much for all of that. This time we're going to go a little bit higher. We're going to try $250. And next year I'm hoping to do a campaign that goes to 1,000. So if you can, the link is in the description. If not, please share it with all your friends and enjoy the video. Thank you. So come over to the shop real quick. Come over to the shop.
Okay, wait. I'm over here. Where are you at?
I'm in the shop. You know where you buy like.
Oh, you're in the shop?
Stuff?
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'm
Wait.
in the shop.
Let me go. Like dive over here.
Boom.
Oh, wait.
There you go.
Oh, I love
What's
your
up?
character. Hi.
Thank you, twin. Welcome, Barry SINEFELT.
Thank you.
How have you been? How's your day been today? It's a Saturday, so.
Oh yeah. Well, today I got decent sleep. It hasn't been too bad. I just have like half an essay to write. It's not too bad. Just was just chilling with everybody for a little bit, and got up.
The one thing, like, I don't know if this is just me or like everyone in 100 Signs, but like I never really, like, I didn't know who you were until like you joined 100 Signs. Like I had never met you before. So I kind of want to like learn a bit more about like how you started out with, like, music and how you ended up like being in 100 Signs, like to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool. There's like a lot of different stuff that happened along the way. It always felt really, really crazy along the way and stuff. And yeah, I feel like most people in 100 Signs, like, I hadn't talked to when I joined. The people that I knew of was that like I vaguely knew Groth, but like other than that, like I was not necessarily like in contact with anybody, except I was in ZJ's DMs for like a little bit before, just because like I reached out to him. That was a whole kind of thing. But yeah, no, that's a correct assessment. I kind of just came out of nowhere, I think, for most people, and that is just kind of what happens. But
how did SINEFELT become to be? Like, what's like your journey into like making music and stuff?
yeah, so basically, I never in the beginning really thought that I was going to like make music or do it in any serious capacity. What happened was I had one friend who made music named Causley. His music name's O Falls. I love that guy. I've known him for 7 years, or like closing in on 8, like online. And we met initially through like both doing like content creation in like the kind of Minecraft sphere when we were both like 11. And so like ever since then, like we had been friends. And that kind of plays into it because like there's some lore that like Klein stumbled upon, because I used to for a while I made videos like I just said, and I low-key like started like getting motion, and then I fumbled it because I don't know, I was like stupid, and like I always would like, I had a lot of random spots where I would kind of go into like random niche art creative things, get some potential to like succeed or whatever, and then I just like stop randomly and like fumble it. And so this was one of those situations where like initially I was doing like YouTube or whatever for a while. Then as that like fell off or whatever, and I was on and off with that over quarantine, I randomly, from the people that I met while I was doing that like content creation, because I was still friends with them, there was like a group of like content creators that like I was just like around as they were all like grinding. They all quit their fucking channels and like all made a bunch of like new ones at once, because they were all like optimizers, like fucking like knew what they were doing, and all like blew up respectively.
Warriors?
Yeah, algorithm warriors, and they all did it, and I was like just standing there like, damn, what the hell? And so they were all super smart and in terms of content, and told me just like from being around me and like my personality that like I would have a really good personality for streaming and that I should try it. And so what happened was that actually they were right, because in 2021 up until maybe 2023, I was streaming for a bit, and it's funny because I had commented on like a Carbine video um under the YouTube account that was like streaming related, and Klein randomly found it
Oh
and
my
like
god.
messaged me about it like very recently. I was like,
I'm going
you
to ask
can
him for this.
I was like, Klein, you cannot tell anybody about this.
I'm
Dude.
going to
I
ask
need
him
to
about this.
I need to wipe this. I think you're the only other person that I'd be okay showing some of like the clips and stuff like that. 'Cause, dude, I don't know. It's just like embarrassing or whatever. But dude, it was crazy because I was like growing in that sphere like low key. Like I started having like an audience and shit. I think I had like on Twitch like 100 subs at some point for like a period of time. But anyways, I just like at a certain point got really burnt out because it's just like it was something that I think I like was gaslighting myself into thinking that I really cared about, and that it was mostly about like the idea of succeeding in it that was really like keeping me doing it. And it just was not like
Yeah.
a very like felt like I was doing it because I knew that I could be good at it, not because I really cared that much. It was a bit more than a year and a half ago,
Mhm.
Jesus, that my friend Entro, who was not related to like, he didn't do any content or anything. He was just one of the friends that I had. And it was kind of as I was like quitting doing that and like really not caring about it at all, that he had this he was showing me Brockhampton's music and had this this offhanded message where he was just like, imagine if we made our own shitpost music collective under the
Oh my god,
name
you guys are gonna start making meme rap?
under the name Cockhampton. Now, I found this very funny. And the thing is that it was something so offhanded that like the only person that committed to it was me, because I never intended on uploading any of it. I'm a type of person who really overcommits to small bits because even if the bit itself isn't that funny, I think the idea that somebody would pour that much time into something so insignificant becomes funny over time. And I
Mhm.
just started doing that to entertain my friend group. So going back to what I was mentioning about my friend Cosley, and how we had met through this like content creator sphere, and eventually like over those years like he started making music along the way over like maybe a year period where we weren't talking as much. And so as we like reconnected, it was like it kind of aligned with this time. So I was like, hey dude, can you teach me how to use like whatever music software you use? And so I pirated FL, and
Mhm.
I just like was started like looking on YouTube for beats, and I started making these like joke songs, right? And I didn't intend it for it to be that big of a thing. I kind of just wanted to do them and like randomly join a VC with my friends and be like, "Yo guys, look at my screen share," and just drop some like random fucking song on them, some random wave file that I would just like screen share, and it'd always be
Yeah.
pretty entertaining and funny. Now the thing is that along the course of doing that, um, I started to quickly accidentally become unironically like a little like good at it pretty quickly, in terms of just it being like the quality of it would just like exponentially like grow for some reason, just from the nature of, I guess I had some like intuition for it or whatever. I ended up getting really addicted to it for some reason. Like just the process of making music, as just like at that point it was not necessarily like an authentic expression, it was just like a joke, as something that was kind of for fun.
Mhm.
It was something that I started like just becoming super addicted to for no reason. Just the process of doing it, not with any intention of uploading, like just because it was like I just loved it. I don't know. Eventually, months later, I discovered like Wikipedia and got super deep into Wikipedia and started thinking to myself, like, wait a sec,
Mhm.
maybe I want to start kind of like trying and like actually making music out of like a genuine, because I've always like loved music. Music has always been like a big part of my life in terms of listening to music and discovering new music and being like a little music nerd. I used to like lurk on music forums, like rate your music, and like be one of those and like discover new music, and like even if I didn't like music, I'd try to like get it and like enjoy it. And so I caught up on all the lore within like 3 weeks of just like getting really high, listening to Wikipedia, like going into all the people that were adjacent. And then yeah, I was started with just like YouTube beats. And again, I'd say when I would consider actually starting making music like that I actually did, especially because like when I actually started producing, it would have been in the summer. It would have been like last summer, so like just like a year and a few months ago, because I would consider it that I started in like June 2023, when I decided, all right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get Ableton and start learning how to produce in it, and I'm gonna like start learning how to like make music actually. So the only thing that I really knew how to do was record, which is an FL, which is why to this day I record in FL and produce in Ableton. It's because like the like scuffed, disorganized workflow that like FL allows is just something that I've grown so like Stockholm syndrome fucking attached to. But the thing was that I wasn't really tapped into anything. So all the inspiration that I had was kind of intrinsic. And I didn't really realize until recently that if I had uploaded that stuff, people in this side of the underground would have actually thought it was like kind of cool. Cause it was genuinely not inspired by anything that like I was never around for. I think a lot of the people in this community are inspired by and came up from a lot of the quarantine era digicore
like
stuff and like
2021 hyperpop music, basically.
Yeah, I was never around for that. I didn't know it existed at all.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, me neither. Like, I'm gonna be 100%. Like, I think me and you. Okay, you came into this community a little later than I did. I first interacted with like the scene in like June 2023, like when I joined Residence, and then I got banned, and I didn't speak to anyone until like April 2024. Also, hold on, give me like 2 seconds. My dog is barking really aggressively, and I need to get him to shut the fuck up.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's SINEFELT. You're rocking with Wasim music. You're rocking with Wasim visuals. Hey guys, it's SINEFELT. Wasim benefit. Hey guys, Wasim. If y'all not fucking with Wasim, kill yourself.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, I was doing a bunch of like tags for you and stuff.
Yeah, I heard all of them. Don't worry. I have Bluetooth headphones. I was listening to all of them. I went to go fill up my cat's like food, and then
Yeah.
I come back and you're just like, "Yo, it's Seinfeld. You're rocking with Wasim visual."
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that a lot of why I improved in music so quickly, something that like that was happening is that like it was something that I was like doing because it was like mentally stimulating to me so much, and I was like trying in some capacity, and that like I genuinely enjoyed it, but it's just what I was doing was like ironic or whatever in some degree. Excuse me.
Yeah,
but like I would like procrastinate like assignments, and my grades would just tank over that shit. Like I from when I started music, even when it was like that, I just cared about it to such like an irrational extent for some reason, whether it was caring about it as it became a more personal thing later, or at that moment it just being something that like really just like captured my attention and like being, even though it was something so like insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So like last year, which was my junior year, dead ass, I like almost didn't graduate because of like music and because of a couple other things, which honestly I can just like share because I don't really care about being like that, like vulnerable or anything like that. It doesn't really bother me. I'd say like as I started taking music more seriously, it really quickly became like a genuine creative outlet as I like started learning how to produce and I got more into stuff like that. Cause like at first I felt really embarrassed having like genuine like lyrics or whatever, but like the musicality of it became more serious. That was kind of the first thing, but like over time it did become like an actual thing where like I was like coping with it and putting so much of like myself into it because it was such an important expression. Because like the first thing I guess is that like I have like bipolar disorder and like a lot of other things, but like I have like bipolar disorder, and I think like over time, especially because when I was still living with my dad at that time, I got like pretty heavily into like a lot of like different bad drug habits, and I was I was like misusing my like prescriptions that I actually do need, and I also was like on some like pretty bad shit too, and like those things were like also affecting my ability to do schoolwork. But most of all, I would like, as I was getting better at music, I truly attribute it to this because like it'd be like 3 a.m. on like a school night, bro. And I would be up. I would go home. Here was my schedule. Okay. I would go to school. I would get home from like 3 p.m. to like anywhere from 5 to 7 p.m. I would nap. I would wake up and be like, fuck, dude, I need to do my schoolwork. I have 2 weeks of schoolwork that I haven't done. And then I would take a bunch of Adderall. And then I would be doing my work and I'd be like, all right, bro, wait, let me finish this song first before I start anything. And then I would get into some project. I would get super deeply involved in it. I'd look at the time and be like, wait a sec, bro, it's 3 a.m. And then I'd be like, wait, I gotta sleep at least like 3 hours, because my school starts at like 7:40 a.m. I'd be like, bro, I gotta sleep at least fucking like 6 hours. So then I'd take a bunch of different shit in hopes that it would help me sleep. But then all that would do is that like I was still in the zone of making music, and so I just like keep making music and be like, man, fuck, this shit sucks. I'm gonna make a song right now. And so and again, at this point, I wasn't like for a lot of that in the beginning, I wasn't even like really like posting anything. But over time, like after all of that process and just deciding like that irrationally through like whatever manic states I was in for such prolonged period of time, and in these states of like impulsivity, I was just like deciding that I was just like crashing out over fucking music, and that was all I like really cared about. It hadn't actually gotten that's honestly only when it started to get like bad. Like all the stuff that I'm explaining right now, that's like mainly when it like started. But it was like whatever. Also, I'm fine now, just to be clear. But like, like I don't really regret like really any of those things, just because I feel like it put me in this position now where like I feel like I have such like creative freedom and I care about it so much. And if that's what it really took to get there, it's like whatever, bro. After all of that happened and I released like Acid Rain, this actually ties into like how I got into 100 Signs, because nobody knew who I was. I was not tapped. That was when I started getting tapped into the community. It was like as I started posting my first songs after I had finally honed my skills after this long journey of going from like Minecraft to just like having probably one of the like worst periods of mental health of like my entire life. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how the fuck I survived that, like real shit, but I did, so it's all good.
I know what you mean, because I'm not gonna say I'm definitely not on like the extreme side that you've been, but like when I first started getting into it wasn't even film. It was like I used to do old Call of Duty montages back in the day, back in like 2018, 2019. During that time, I literally wouldn't sleep. I would just like edit the entire time, and like like I feel like if I could go back, I probably wouldn't, but at the same time, like I feel like, I don't know if you relate to this, but like I definitely wouldn't go back to the way I was, and I don't know if I would recommend like ever doing that ever. But at the same time, I feel like it did kind of work, as like terrible as
literally,
it was.
Yeah, it was terrible, but like it was a very important thing to draw from, and I learned a lot from there. And I think that reference point, like I have a lot of reference points, and I had plenty before that. Like it's not like it's not like that was like the first time that I was like in some like volatile state, but it had never been like that was like the worst of it or whatever, especially because of other stuff that was like going on outside of just like myself, at like just stuff at like home, like I alluded to with like my dad and all these other things, that it was just like it was whatever. And so it's like I wouldn't like recommend getting into like the habits that I was in, but it like it's like what you said, it like worked, and it has now benefited me and whatever. And it's like, I don't know, dude, reaping the benefits of it. The way that I look at it is that I always kind of feel like it was like a trade-off.
I get what you mean. It's kind of like, it's like the most extreme form of like a trade-off. Like you're sacrificing like, oh my god, holy shit.
What the hell? What is this?
Oh my god, I got a 1-star. Look how big this thing is. Holy shit.
Dude, that like takes up my entire screen.
Because, like, I think the problem with a lot of people is they kind of just assume, like, art is, like, you practice a bit and then you get good at it, and then, I don't know, they think it's a very streamlined process, but, like, everyone's experiences is different, and their ways of, like, getting to where they get to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and how, like, I really, like, stumbled into the way that I approach everything, and I've learned from talking to people that my creative process and the way that I view like art and creativity, and the way that I view the creative process of making music, and the way that I view releasing it and my attachment to making music is so different than other people. And when I say attachment to making music, I don't mean that like I care about music more than other people, although that is another part of it, because I've noticed that like a lot of people in this scene, like not everyone, but there are a lot of people who like don't actually care about music that much, or at the very least
they're just very numbers centric. They're not very music centric.
Yeah. It's kind of like how I was with like streaming almost. So in that sense, I can kind of like understand, like I can understand that, but it's so different for me because again, like I have spent like, I think at this point, probably like in total, half of the time that I've made music, I had no interest in, and just never did share it with like anybody except for like a few of my friends for like that entire time. And so I don't know. I think I'll probably like I'll segue into like my creative process like in a sec. Let me just like think to like wrap up what I was like talking about, because in terms of the story of like how I like continue to get into it and stuff. Yeah, so I remember when I released my first song, like not my first song that I ever made, obviously, I've already explained that, but like my first song that I released was like Acid Rain, and I think just purely through like algorithm by like coincidence or something, Grolf found the song, and Grolf really liked the song, and like shared it with like a lot of people that they knew. And they were like sharing it to just like every, and I think that coincided with, as they were getting closer with like people like Klein and ZJ. I had a couple people that after I had dropped my first song, in fact, by the time I dropped my third song, my first 3 songs I think are like a specific era of my music. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's because they were all made before I got more tapped into the community. My first 3 songs were before I got super deeply integrated and into the community, as in like everybody that's like smaller than like the people that are at the top, like the Kuru and Wikipedia and Quinn and those people. As I started getting deeper into it, like people like, I think one of the first people that I got like that I was exploring that was like a smaller artist in the community relative to all those other people would be like Gunk and like Yama Maya and like Baby Azul and people like that. And that was like right before Gunk blew up. That was like when Gunk had like 300 followers or some shit, right as they released or not right as they released, but like a little bit after they released their My Heart's Like an 808, I believe it's called, album. Yeah, My Heart's Like an 808. That album's fucking amazing, by the way. Like
this year I think has been like one of the best years for like music in this like community in general. So like you came at like one of the best times, because people say it's like dying and stuff, but like in reality the sound is just shifting and it's like reaching like a new,
it's definitely not dying. Listen, I caught up on so much of the lore, even though I wasn't around for it, and I've like grown this decent understanding of how stuff progressed, and I've gotten that sense too that like people thought it was dying, because like recently, like as I got tapped in with like a lot of like producers in the scene, like which is like another story that I guess we can like touch on in like a bit, but like I remember I had this interaction with someone who was like, bro, like he like didn't know about Gunk or like any of the other people that are in this like ambient kind of like pocket that I'm in, but was like looking at my stats and was like, bro, you have good stats in 2024, what the fuck is that? And was like you know, saying that it like people just kind of used to like blow up like that all the time back in like 2019 SoundCloud and like 2020 SoundCloud, and how people would just like pop up out of nowhere, and like how SoundCloud started to like almost die off in like the different like SoundCloud communities and stuff, especially because of people like to complain about the algorithm, stuff like that, which seems perfectly valid to me. But like it feels like now people are like definitely like innovating and have the capacity to grow an audience. Like look at like Gunk and stuff like that as an example. Like just an example of someone who like you really push for stuff, right? And you have like some originality and some like drive and shit. And it seems like people do have a chance of like growing like an audience now, and that it's not completely dead, and that like if you get lucky enough and you have your own like original enough sound, and you like are like care enough and you like put enough of yourself into it, and people can genuinely tell, and people, you know, can like resonate with your shit genuinely. So essentially what I'm saying is if it's like genuinely that good, you're not just gonna fucking fly under the radar. Like exactly. Not to say that if you are flying under the radar that your music's just like not good, but if your music is like, it's like it gets to a point where it literally just can't. Like I because like I don't know, I just mean with like given enough time. So it's like I actually think that the size that it's in, and this could just be me being biased because the algorithms like treated me so well, and because I happen to be in the right place at the right time. But the way that I see it is that like even when before, I'm not gonna lie, I would still be just as excited about all of this if like my stats had stayed the same rather than rocketing exponentially from my first three songs. My first three songs, I was growing at like a very, I think, normal pace, maybe slightly above average for like having like my first three songs as people were like discovering them. And I mean, it was still like an above average pace to grow, but like even at that point,
Yeah.
I was like just like super grateful and excited for like all of it, and felt like that was like huge for me, and that like I wasn't expecting to get those types of numbers at all, especially because I was like just getting into it. And it's like
Touching back on like that idea of like kind of about like, you know, how like luck, how like a lot of it is luck, and like
yeah,
because the algorithm on SoundCloud is frankly complete like dog shit. Like I don't make
yeah,
music, but I've been around enough people to know that like it's like actually just terrible. But what I've always like approached it with is kind of like this idea of like I mean 99% of like chances in life are brought from luck. And
oh
like
yeah,
I think it's completely down to like how you personally tackle it. Like for example, when Gunk blew up off of dropping like music and working with producers like Pharmacy and Ellens, like I don't think that people like people wouldn't care like if just like some random person hopped on an Ellens beat and was like and like dropped one good song and then just like disappeared forever. Like it's completely up to the individual like how they choose to use that luck, because I think at some point like if you're definitely intentional enough about it and like you can get lucky to the point where hella people hear your music. It's how you transfer like people from just hearing your shit and going, "Oh, this is kind of cool," to being like lifelong
bro,
fans
absolutely.
is like
Bro,
what it's all about.
I think me doing well in algorithm is like partially luck, like mostly luck, but also a bunch of stuff that I did like at the time pretty unintentionally, but like very basic things, like Carophobia. Michael Carophobia was like randomly like DM me asking like if there was any particular reason why my algorithm was so good, and I went on this like 10-minute voice memo tangent to them explaining like what I've gathered, and like already a lot of their songs are kind of like doing like better. There's just like it's not even like just like there are small tricks in terms of just like stuff to hit the algorithm, but on top of that there's just like a lot of stuff that like what you're saying about like everybody I feel like at some point will get some small like micro opportunity, and it's like a mix. It's like you need to, excuse me, have the skill to grasp it, and like the sense of like knowing when you're having the opportunity to like be able to like everybody is going to get their moment of luck at some point, but like the reason why you can't just look at people and be like, "Oh dude, they just got lucky, dude. Like if only I had that luck, and if only my songs did that well." Like, bro, listen, you need to also have the skill to like take those opportunities and like turn them into something bigger, like what you're saying. It like is like a whole nother thing.
Music is like one part of it, but also like being able to connect with it isn't just from the music itself. It's like how you incorporate like your personality into it. And I'm
Bro,
thinking
exactly.
like because like from what I've seen, like every single time every single time like you drop a song, I'm like, oh, like I come in expecting like it's not like I'm expecting like, oh, this is going to be like an ambient song, or oh, this is going to be a jerk song or something like that. I come in
Mm-hmm.
thinking this is going to be a SINEFELT song because like it's got that distinct personal like touch to it, which is why I think like your shit is so like memorable. And whenever you drop a verse, it's like, and like that's not to say like it's like some special like difference in sound that like nobody else has discovered yet, but kind of
Mm-hmm.
just like the way you interact with like the media itself and how you like translate that into like your songs is what makes you like so such a like explosive personality to like look at and like to like follow, because like that's kind of
Thank
like
you.
one of the main reasons people like fuck with your stuff, because it's not just music. Like your music is fire, but like also like it's the way you bring like your 100% like zero like fucks given attitude to that like music and like everything that surrounds it, like whether that's like talking to like people in comments, or like giving feedback, or like receiving feedback, or just like getting people to listen to your stuff, or just like the way you do it is so Seinfeld. Like I can only, that's the only way I can really describe it.
I feel like I've always kind of like had some sort of like you know, myriad of like just idiosyncrasies or like things about like my like personality that people have like considered to be like unique to me or whatever, like outside of like music. And it's just something that like I feel like internally that I have like a really strong like sense of identity that is just like ties into like everything that I do, especially because of like the process of creating art that's like so personal to me. And like that, like I'm just really glad that it like comes across, because that's the thing, is that like I definitely do like interact with like the community and in a certain way of just like I just feel like I'm kind of there. Like I just love like the energy of it, and I love being around all these like creative people, even if I don't know them. I just feel like I love connecting to like I just that's the thing, is that like every single day, bro, like I'd spend like a couple hours just like listening to new music, what like partially outside of the underground, because I like to make sure that all of my influences aren't just like in the echo chamber of like the ambient community. So I and then I'll go, when I am in the underground, like I'll listen to like what's up in like the like indie pop side of like the underground comm, or like the like ambient side of the underground comm, or like all those like Atlanta rapper underground comm that like for some reason Kuru will feature in for no reason all of a sudden, like
No,
every now and then you'll see a Kuru feature on like an Atlanta rapper's page.
I mean,
No, wait, go ahead.
at this point, Crew's basically an Atlanta rapper, like
Yeah,
himself,
pretty
like.
much. Bro, I love that shit. Like, hardest femboy out, bro. In March, when I released my second song and I was in the process of making my third song, I went to a concert with a bunch of my online friends. I had a meetup to go to this like concert in Brooklyn, kind of near where I live, called Hyperdrive. And the people that were performing at it were like Feardorian, Kuru, Quinn. Xavier So Based wasn't like a name, but he randomly popped out on stage doing that like classic dance. Like he did that Xavier So Based emote where like his neck doesn't move. And do you know what I'm talking about? Like when they
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
This is a stupid word, but the way that people feel about my like aura online translates to in real life, because I don't act like any different. Like the way that I'm always jumping around and energetic, like if you were with me IRL, I'm still jumping around, but you get to look at it and it looks even more fucking stupid. And so like I think people also feel that energy in real life, because I remember the people, I didn't realize it because I was reluctant, but like the people that opened in that concert that were like the like unknown people that were just like, I think that they were friends with some of the people that were performing, and so they were just like opening for it. I don't remember even what they were called, to be honest, but I was like at the front in this fucking like pit of people or whatever, and this guy kept making eye contact with me that was on stage, of one of the main people that was like performing, and I realized now that he was trying to ask me to come up on stage. It was so funny. And because later he came up to me and he was like, hey, like, oh dude, I loved your energy, like blah 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 blah, like, yeah, thanks for coming out. I was like, yeah dude, you did great, it was awesome. I like had a brief interaction with him, it was super cool. But like, bro, I wish I went up, that would have been so sick, that would have been such a funny story. But I couldn't tell what he was trying to signal to me, because he was like doing kind of like this like come up kind of movement, and like in my head I was like, does he just mean come more forward? But the thing was that I was literally the furthest you could go, so that doesn't make any sense. So like I later obviously like discovered what that was like implying, but basically there was this one time where like as I was kind of in that sort of like no sleep bloodstream, just like bloodstream made up of 20% caffeine, 30% assortment of other drugs, and like 50% pure will to live. It was randomly nighttime, where I was in like a similar cycle to what I was talking about before, of like, oh, I got to do the homework, like ADHD meds and like coffee, and then being like, oh dude, I actually never got to that, let me take these two other things and like try and see if it'll help me sleep. And as it was setting in, it was like 3 a.m. It was like pitch black. I had remembered that like I heard Feardorian live, and it was my first impression of his music, and this was like months after the concert, and it was like I just randomly remembered his music, so I was just like high off all this shit, bro. And I was like wait, I was on Twitter and I saw that there was a snippet of a Feardorian music video, And this is when I was like really like getting into Kuru, like all of his like
Was this
jerk
like
shit
the
and this
wait?
newer
Was this
shit.
like the Polo Pucks video? I think I
No,
remember
this was before that. This
Oh,
was
it
before
was-
Polo Perks.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw that Feardorian had like a music video, and it was like I didn't even know that he had music videos. And I was like, "What? Feardorian has a music video? That's so sick! I need to look this up." I was like, I had this cartoonish excitement and reaction just silently to myself in my room, just like, "Yo, that's so sick!" So I went to look it up, and what I found was like that Kuru and Feardorian had like a music video together. And I was like, what? Because I didn't know that Kuru had music videos either. And I was like, I had just been getting into them both. So this was like the collab of the century to me. And it was like an old music video. It was like a dream collab. I was like, and so in this like altered state of mind that I was in, I'm not gonna lie, bro, that was a true spiritual connection that I had to this music video. It turned on. It was a catch. Such a good song, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I woke up the next morning. I had to go to school. You know, stomach ache, like fucking, you know, dream like fucking like fight or flight, like you were saying. And when I got home, I was like just like making music again as always. And I don't know, dude. I don't know what even like really resurfaced that moment right now. It's just some like core memory that I have now of like getting connected to that part
like
of
a
the scene.
euphoric experience to a Kuru
Yeah,
and Feardorian music video.
Literally, and dude, now like I have a connection to that music video. That whenever I hear that song, I remember it sparked this thing where like at school, I would like be walking in the halls with my headphones on, just like listening to that song. I would watch that music video like 3 times a day. It'd be like my daily. I'd be like, dude, this is catch time for like a solid week and a half.
I kind of relate to this. Well, not really in like the song sense, but so when Kamo dropped that song Linoleum.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that music video dropped, that like unlocked like an obsession in my brain that I don't think any other music video has ever unlocked. Like, I don't know if you've seen like my tweets or like my posts on like Instagram about it. I can't get that music video out of my head. Every couple days I'm like, oh my god, this video, there's so much amazing with it. Like I have a plan, or I had a plan to like drop like a video just like breaking down how it was made, because like I've like fixated on it so much that like my brain has like started to work out exactly what effects were used and where, and like how they shot certain things and like stuff, and like my brain just explodes every time I watch it again because there's more stuff that like I like missed out. And like it's not like the euphoric experience that you said that you like mean, but like I get what you mean when you like when it's like a core memory, because like that video is like locked into my brain forever. Not even the song's all right, I guess, but like the video itself is what makes it so much better. I don't mean to like, because I know that, like people say this and it's like really corny, but like did you like see like music at the time, or like you still do, as kind of like a therapeutic experience to like make
Dude,
it?
yeah, it's so fucking cathartic. It's like I was so much, but even when I was just making meme rap, this is the crazy thing. Like when I was doing that shit, it gave me something to care about that felt like I was like invested in something that was like super productive. And so rather than like playing games and getting irrationally mad at like Valorant or something, I literally didn't do anything but make music. I never played games. Like when I say that, I mean that like I basically never played games. I like barely fucking like did assignments. I like talked to my friends and stuff, but like I was like pretty isolated for like so long, and like I had no interest in making games because like making music was so dopaminergic and like such like a coping mechanism for me, and something that was so like deeply cathartic, like you're saying. And I know that for some people it's corny, which is like going back into the theme about how I feel self-conscious about how so much of my experiences are like cliches that are like taken as corny because of how much of it is inauthentic for a lot of people. But like, I mean, fuck it, dude. There's not much I can do except just like express it. And if people think that it's like corny, it's like whatever.
I don't know how much this relates, because like I'm thinking of like it from like a YouTube perspective. I've seen like, you know, those like Mr. Beast interviews and stuff. This is like a really crazy tangent, but like it's got an actual point to the like question.
Don't even worry.
Like I remember he brought up a point about something like he was talking about the YouTuber Emma Chamberlain and how her audience is capped because she has a very distinct personality. I feel like this, like, if you like say that in context of music, I feel like you're kind of in that same boat as well, because not just your sound, but also like your personality and your approach to music is so unique. Like, do you ever like experience doubt over like, or like not really doubt, but kind of like that sort of like feeling that you're kind of like locking yourself into like a specific style or a specific audience because you are so like personal and you express like your full personality in your music?
Okay, no, okay, so the thing is that I don't even like think about that at all, for the reason that a lot of the people that I'm like most inspired by, like in terms of like just like music that I got into the past that like really resonated with me for its like idiosyncrasy, is like, that's something getting pigeonholed and shit, excuse me, is something that happens to a lot of people that make like digicore as an example. I know we're bringing up digicore a lot, but like, bro, there's a lot of digicore artists who complain if they try to do anything else, they do not get any emotion. The thing is that like with YouTube, that is definitely true, but that's also because when you are like getting into a market for YouTube, I know exactly what you're talking about, by the way, the Mr. Beast thing, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's also about like that's also about that Emma Chamberlain is still wildly successful. It's just that if you want to start like an enterprise and be like a corporation, that doesn't work. However, obviously, like there's examples where it applies in niches, like with digicore, right? But the reason why I think that like I haven't really doubted myself in terms of my personal expression is that like the only way that I would be worried is if my stuff was so unpalatable that like it couldn't be enjoyed and appreciated by other people. But I feel like as I was gonna allude to, people like JPEG Mafia or like Bjork, especially Bjork. I love Bjork so much.
Bjork is fire.
And like I'll just stick with those two examples. Like Bjork had always been innovating, releasing albums that at first people are like Vespertine, of like, what the hell? Like this shit sounds like, people initially received Vespertine, which is one of her albums that like I'm inspired by a lot, that I really love. Where they were like, this is just like cold sounding, it's not like her other like work, it's a lot less like palatable or whatever. But then like people got it over time, and like she's just always like innovating, and like people appreciate her sound and her personality as just like this wacky Icelandic woman with like very cool ideas and eccentric ways of being. I resonate with her a lot. Björk is like a big inspiration to me in a lot of ways. And JPEG Mafia also, like, I know that he's become a pretty controversial figure or whatever, but he has his own like I don't give a fuck kind of like personality, and like makes a bunch of different types of music and has never really like stayed in one lane in terms of like having a bunch of different sounds, having the Devon Hendrix project too before JPEG Mafia that was also had its own like experimental thing of sound. And what I've come to realize is that I don't ever think that if I made it in music that like, I don't think I would ever be able to like be like a Mr. Beast or like be like someone who's like super big and like insanely widely successful. I don't even care about that. I care about being happy and having enough to where I can sustain myself and just stay like happy and being able to do what I love. And I think that there's enough people where like if I had to describe my target audience, it would be the types of people that are into like the like Bjorks and like the JPEG Mafias of like the music world, where like people who like genuinely want to seek out stuff that they like are unfamiliar with. And I think that there's enough of those types of people, and that I've gotten lucky to be in a community where there are at least some of those people, where like I feel like I'm not pigeonholing myself, because there are people that are out there that can like find me, and even if they haven't heard stuff that I like make, that like no matter what I make, because the other question that you asked about if I feel like I'm pigeonholing myself into a style, it's like, no, like I'm not intentionally making my music in any like particular style. I feel like as I change, my music will probably change, kind of like Bjork with like how she describes her music changing depending on all of her different albums. Like my sound is definitely going to like start changing anytime now. It's not going to happen intentionally, but I'm sure it will, like to some extent, whether it's like slow or fast. And I'm not too worried about it, just because I think people who like my music from what I've seen, from how people have reached out to me that are like just fans of my stuff, which is crazy to think that I have fans already. I have like imposter syndrome and shit. I don't feel like I'm that big, but there are people who are already taking inspiration from me, and I have not been doing this for that long. It's crazy. I feel like my style is always going to just revolve around me as a person, and that I'm not pigeonholing myself, because it's kind of like what you were saying about the Emma Chamberlain thing. It does tie into what you're saying, because I think people who like my music are gonna get attached to me as an artist rather than just the way that my music is on their like playlists type shit.
Yeah.
Like I which is like for example, I was talking to someone else that I know named Vaihi, and who has like more followers than me, and was showing me this unreleased song. I don't really talk to him that much. I don't really know him that well. I was just offhandedly in a VC with him one time, and he was showing me this unreleased song that was like a kind of very different style than the normal like hyper popish digicore-ish, I hate the word hyper pop, but whatever kind of thing that he was making, and was saying that like, oh yeah, he felt like if he released that song, nobody would listen to it. I'm like, what do you mean? You have a lot of followers. Like I'm sure people would like check it out, and like at least some people would like it. And he was like, no, the thing is that like people are like following me, but they're like following me for my songs, like not for me. And the difference is that when people reach out to me and they talk about why they love my music, a lot of people seem to, which I'm so grateful for, recognize that I'm truly putting myself into like my music, and that like a lot of my style and the vibe of my music is not just from its sound or whatever genres people perceive I'm taking inspiration from, but also me as like a person and however I'm feeling in the moment, and whatever sounds are coming to me from an amalgamation of all the different inspirations that I've been like listening to or I've thought of in the past, and my past and present experiences. And that like however that morphs my sound is, I think if people like my music now, I think that they're always gonna like have the opportunity. I think that they always will have the capacity to like my music, because so far the people that like me, they like what's coming out of my brain. Like I don't think the things that my brain produces is always gonna be my brain. And I don't know. I just have confidence that people are gonna fuck with it.
Do you like have like a specific like set of like people that you like work with as like producer wise? Because I know you do features with like a ton of people, but like with producers, like I noticed you're very much into like a lot of like there's like a style to like the beats that you pick, and I was thinking like, you know, like is there like a specific group of producers that you like working with like the most, or is it like you just you basically just work with like whatever?
Well, I mean, I definitely do kind of work with like whoever, but like I at the same time, that's not. No, I actually don't. Heroin, dude. Number one, I fucking love that guy. Number two, dude, Heroin made me, bro. I would be nowhere without releasing "Don't Be Scared" and like hopping on that Heroin beat. I actually remember when I found out about Heroin beats, I was like super sleep deprived in school, looking at beat clips on Instagram. I don't remember who reposted it. I think it was when I discovered Addict's beat clips for the first time, and I think that Addict had reposted a story. Had reposted a story of Heroin's, and I was looking at Heroin's beats. I was like, dude, this is so unique, and this is like so like me. Like I could see so much different shit on this. This is like so perfect. This was like creatively inspiring me. I was on like no sleep. I was in the library skipping a class because like it was like pre-calc. I was skipping because like there was a test and I hadn't studied for it because I was like fucking, you know, doing shit I shouldn't have been doing the night before or whatever. And I was like you know, feeling weird as shit. And like I remember I got home that day, and this is kind of an off story, or like an offhanded thing, but I remember like just to illustrate like the like extent to like the mindset that I was in as I was like getting really good at making music and like thinking super rationally, and not to use this word but crashing out. It was like I remember I got home, and it was like, again, I took my nap. It was like 2 a.m. or something. Mm-hmm. And this like, or no, it wasn't. It was right after it was right before I took my, excuse me. It was right after I took my nap. I'm sorry. It was 5 p.m. or something. I walked over, I looked out the window. I was like, wow, the sky's beautiful. Then all of a sudden I was going to go to my keyboard, and I saw this ladybug crawling on my desk, and I was freaking out because there was just some drama that was going on with this girl. Uh-huh. And that's like some whole other lore some whole other lore, but like there was this ladybug that crawled on my desk, and I was like, and because I was talking out loud to myself like a crazy person about whatever I was thinking about, and all these like different things that I had to do, and like the nature of my situation. I was just talking out loud. I looked to my left on the window. There was this ladybug. It started just crawling, and it like on the and it eventually crawled to the desk because this was as I was ranting, and I knew that it was there. But like after I was done, or after I said something specifically, and again, like I had been like on shit, and not only had I been on shit, not in this specific moment, but in general, but also like I had been taking my bipolar medication super inconsistently, which also had like provoked this like I was probably in like an actual psychosis, because I just think it's funny. So like I'm not like trauma dumping. I just think this is legitimately funny. Mm-hmm. The ladybug turned around and like looked me dead in the eyes for like 10 seconds. And I was looking at it, I was like, I bet you could fucking hear me. I started talking to this ladybug, and I was like talking to myself like, I know this is probably crazy, and I'm so glad that nobody can hear this, because this is definitely not true, and I'm definitely going crazy right now, but there's a chance that you could fucking hear me. What the fuck are you looking at? And I started talking to this ladybug like that, and I was like, what do you think? What do you know about? And it was like such ramble. All of a sudden, I was like, and then as I was saying fuck you to it, I was like, what are you gonna do about it? And then as it stared at me for another 2 seconds, and I got this pit in my stomach. I just had a feeling something was gonna go wrong. And then it flared up its wings, and it started flapping like and then it just flew at me at full speed, and I was like and like I was like rubbing myself off. I was like, fuck, I have like a bit of a bug phobia. Ladybugs don't mind me that much, but that had me convinced. I was like, fuck dude, maybe I'm not that crazy, bro. I might have insulted him a little too much. And then I was like, man, I got a nap. So then I realized I didn't take my medication that morning, and so I took it and I napped. And then after that was a moment where I was like, dude, I'm definitely cooked, bro. Like, this is fucked up. But it's low-key just funny that I was yelling at this ladybug, and as soon as I said, what are you gonna do about it, which is such a stupid thing to say to a bug, it like flared up its wings and launched itself at me. It's so funny. And I had a paper in my hand, so I tried blocking it up to like block it. It did in fact hit me. Anyways, back to producers. That's just, I don't know. I'm sorry about that.
That was the greatest side tangent I've ever had in my life. That's okay. You can...
Yeah, okay, awesome. So let me talk about how I met Heroin. So after those beat clips, I contacted them. I got them on Discord. I sent them a DM complimenting the fuck out of their beats, just deriding. And because I genuinely believed it and I wanted to talk to them. And so I had them added on Discord. I was like, hey, so out of curiosity, can I see one of your beats? I was asking what the least price was, and I was like, because I would, not only because was like a nobody, but also because like I just respect the art of producing so much and its artistic integrity, that even when people have offered to send me beats, sometimes I will just be like, yeah, but like I can pay for it if you want. And again, it's usually like all the money that I have in my bank account. I just am so bad at saving money, and I just like really want to support people. And like basically I asked, and Heroin obviously didn't know me and was worried that I might steal the beat. So they were like, all right, sure. It would be however much money for like the lease. But I wanted to see if I could make a song on it first, to see if like it would work for me. And what they did is they tagged the beat before sending it to me with this watermark that was like them saying like, this N-word did not buy this beat, bro. And just like every 10 seconds. And so I have this initial demo of Don't Be Scared with the initial vocals that I was recording in this state of mind, with like that playing, and I just sang over it. But it's so funny because it's just in there. and like after a while, I had occasionally just messaged Heroin. Like Heroin liked the song a lot and was like, yo, you like, I forget what it was. I finally showed them the like demo that I had, and they're like, ooh, you're hard or whatever. Pause. And then like all these months later, when I finally just like finished the song after paying for it and like making the like song again, I send it and they were like, yo, this is crazy. What the fuck? You like fit this beat so well, like much better than a lot of these other people trying to rap like Laserdisc on my beats. And I was like, yeah, like, I knew exactly what they were talking about. Really, I had gone through their prod thing, and I've noticed that all of these innovative producers in the scene who make the most beautiful things I've ever heard, like China Poet, even though he egoed me, Dream Note, even though he egoed me, Heroin, like Lesions, like Silas Rowe, like all these people. If you look at their Fiat, like all these people, they like 90% of people just like rap on them in like a Laserdisc ripoff type way, which is so funny.
It's such a disservice. I think if I could think of like 2 people who fit like heroin beats like the best, it would probably be you and ZJ. Like, to be completely honest.
I love ZJ. I'll like briefly mention ZJ after too, because what I was gonna say, sorry, and I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I am sure, because Heroin said this before, like publicly, so like this is actually fine. But I really got locked in with Heroin because after talking to them and like we were just kind of acquainted because I had like bought that Don't Be Scared beat. And there was this time though where I was asking about more beats and was saying that like I wanted to perhaps get one again, because this was the season 2 beat actually, because they sent me a few beats. They were like, all right, fine, and sent me like a couple beats that were like that I could choose from, and basically that I was saying whichever one I decide to use, I'll like pay for. And randomly they hit me up. This is kind of like an abbreviated version of the story because I'm pretty sure it happened in like a more convoluted way. But essentially what happened, just to boil it down, was that they hit me up randomly, and without fully alluding to it, they were like, hey, do you have $20 if you do, I'll like lease you like some like beats, like basically like saying it as if it was like a deal that they were doing or whatever. And like I was like, yeah, sure. They were like, thank God you said that, because like I have not eaten in like 2 days, and I was genuinely penning on that. Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
So like I was like, oh fuck, dude, like you could have just said that. Like you didn't even have to like lease me beats. Like you genuinely, like you don't even need to do all that. Like I don't want to like exploit your hunger. Like I'm really like I just like hope you're okay. That's like completely chill. They were like, oh no, like don't even like worry about it. And we're like, I'm like also like it's whatever, like, you know, if you need anything, let me know. And that like they weren't intending on like coming to me asking for anything, and was like, you know, saying like apologizing that it was like unprofessional. And I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck if it's like unprofessional, bro. Like you're just like a human. It's just like something that's going on. Like genuinely, like if you're in like if something's going on, bro, like there's no like shame in that's whatever. And then that's when they were like, oh yeah, you're like you're actually like you're amazing, thank you. And I was like, yeah, like no worries. And then we were like a lot closer after that, because I think that they like obviously I think that it's hard for some people to like know whether or not someone's like authentic, and I think that was just like a moment where like it was like a vulnerable moment for both of us in that conversation. And when they were like, okay, I think like it wasn't even out of like guilt, like it's not like some monetary connection that I have with Issa, because like after that we had like calls and we like talk more, and like I genuinely like each other as people. And Issa like advocates for me heavily to other like artists. Like Issa vouched for me to Silas Rowe, who found my work and really liked it and decided to send me beats because Issa vouched that I was like not gonna like hoe out the beat if I got it, and like just like use it without permission and like not check in and be like respectful.
I think for a final question,
okay,
I think I'm just gonna ask, how much more do you plan on doing this year, and then what's the plan for SINEFELT 2025?
Yeah, so I meant to drop yesterday, but I had to like do some like schoolwork. So hopefully I'm gonna like grind it out tonight and like just like drop it. But for the rest of 2024, I have so many demos that my plan is to release every Friday for the rest of this year. And then after I do that and like genuinely like release all these different songs that I've had in the back burner for varying amounts of time that I'm pretty proud of, I want to make like a little EP of just like, if I ever make a song that's like insane that I love a lot, I'm gonna like save it for an EP, and I want to make maybe like a 5-song EP that's like representative of what I feel like at this point is maybe like either, it doesn't have to be the highest quality, I don't want to get too perfectionistic, but like the expression that I think defines where I'm currently at the most, so
kinda
that
like
I can kind of
like a this is SINEFELT.
Yeah, like a little like landmark point of right now. This is SINEFELT thing to see if, you know, that, because I think that singles build listeners, but like EPs build like fan bases. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to make an EP. Like since I started taking music seriously, it's always been just like something that I wanted to do, and I've always thought about it, but like never did it because every single time that I try, it's just like I couldn't make songs consistent, like of a consistent quality enough. Like it would be like because I improved pretty quickly, so it'd be like 2 weeks later, I'd be like, oh, all those songs were shit, and then I would just like keep going in this like weird cycle. And it's like, yeah, so that's like my plan for 2025. And also before we depart as well, just like I really wanted to like touch on something that I'll make brief about like writing lyrics, because I think that it's like
Go ahead.
an important thing. Yeah, so
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
I was just gonna say that not all of my songs, so like some of my songs, like Skin as an example, is a song that's about like gender dysphoria. That was a pretty intentionally like written song that was like it's like pretty like accurate. But when it comes to what I've been saying about how my music is a personal expression, the way that manifests is like that when I'm writing a song, I understand how my lyrics may be interpreted by people in like a chronological way that like makes like sense. So like for example, I'll use Us as an example, even though it might not be the most perfect example, but Us has like it can read as like a story, but and a genuine expression. Now, how I look at authenticity in my music is that a lot of my music is written as a expression, again, since a lot of it isn't even like really meant to see the light of day sometimes, so that like amplifies it when that's how the song comes to be, as like an expression of like my mental state at that moment and like my feelings about stuff that's like happening to me at the time. So what'll happen is I'll like say shit that are all like real but like unrelated to each other and like mix and match it in a way that makes sense, but they're all respectively, the greater point of it is like it's like the feeling of it that's the most authentic, and the way that it's strung together is basically the way that I think about making music in terms of writing it is to be just vague enough to where people can put themselves into it, but specific enough to where I'm putting myself into it as well. And that's why I think that the easiest way to put all of myself into it is to focus more on how it comes off in like this sort of feeling. But like as an example for like Us, there's like, it can read as that it's talking about like one person and like one experience, when in reality there's a bunch of different stuff that's in it. Like the like Just Wanna Feel Pretty interlude was just like randomly me feeling like just like expressing like the kind of like under like the what's it called motif of like gender dysphoria, which is unrelated to like everything else in the song. And then there's stuff in there about like this is a good example of how everything is just like random shit that I was pulling that was just in my mind at the time, where like I wasn't going to drop the song as I was making it. There was stuff about talking about like just like almost falling into like a relapse of like some of the addictions that I was talking about before at that time. Luckily I'm chill, but like that was something that I was like worried about, and that was going on because some just comically fucking terrible string of events happened, and it was like whatever. So there was some allusions to that there too, and it was just all these things. And talking about like the die to grasp at benefits thing was just some random thing where I was talking about how like I like, as I've been talking about so many times going in circles about how like I like sacrifice all my responsibilities and things that like should matter in the real world over this manic delusion that like everything will just like work out for itself in a way, and this like idealistic thing that I know is kind of crazy in all reality, which is why I don't like say it that often, that like because I also know that it's crazy, but then when I'm in like these like manic states where like it's kind of like an obvious symptom where like look at like Kanye West thinking that like fucking God is like looking over him. It's not about God, but like what I was gonna say is that like it's that like it's almost like I feel like sometimes that what it feels like is whenever I go through those periods that just like it almost feels like the universe fucking like rewards me for like going through those periods and like expressing it authentically. And I feel like that there's a correlation between how authentic I'm being and how much I'm expressing and the success of what I'm leading to. And I feel like as long as I keep manifesting this like path that I want to go down and I keep just doing my thing and putting as much as I can into it, it will work out like eventually. And so that's kind of what I'm betting on, even though I know that honestly I could just end up homeless. And it's like, well, fuck it though, because I really care about what I'm doing. And listen, if that's the risk I'm taking, then that's fine. And it feels a bit extreme, but that's also because it is. And that's why I described it like that. But it has nothing to do with any of the other lyrics. But it feels like it does, because when you read it, it could be interpreted as like, it could still be interpreted as talking about a person. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say, is that my creative process for lyrics is some of it, it's all genuine expression, but not all of it is drawing from like one actual experience that like happened. It's just like laid out that way.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know if that was necessary, but I just like, it was something that's like down the...
Don't worry, that's fine. You can, I mean, it was basically just a conversation. You can literally talk about whatever you want, so... But yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here, because like...
Oh yeah, no, that was all I had to say.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap everything up here. You know, thank you so much for taking the time to like come here and like speak, because like I feel like it's hella interesting getting people's like different stories and perspectives on like music, because like music is ultimately a collaborative space, and I feel like being able to understand people's thoughts and how they go about their music making process is kind of what helps drive that collaboration further, because it helps you connect more on just like a, hey, hop on this beat with me, kind of like... No, go ahead.
Yes. Well, wait, one sec.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my mom came in. Sorry, it's interesting to hear about people's things.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's ultimately like really interesting learning about people's like personal like experience, not just like so that you can like understand like their music better, but also because it connects you on like a more personal level, which makes it like more interesting to like make music with them. Like, even though I don't make music, I'm sure like a lot of people do like think like
oh,
they
no, for
think
sure.
of like they think of like kind of the same way I do. You have anything you wanna like anything or anyone you wanna shout out before I like end the recording?
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to shout out number one, I'll say I want to shout out my friend Jackro, especially just someone who, like, if you're an artist, you may recognize the name vaguely from like some guy named Jackro liking your songs. Jackro had like been along the ride with me for pretty much the entire time since I started making music as a shitpost up until when I got good at it, always like supporting it and like the vision and like and like kind of like being super encouraging, even though like he doesn't make music. He's a very creative person and like does like more like visual art and stuff like that. And then in terms of like artists, I would I would check out just some of my like friends. So like make sure to check out ZJ, shout out 100 Signs, a shout out Grolf, and also Heroin, and basically anybody else that's like been in support and like kind of like and also Ofalls, Cosley's like one of my like best friends. Again, the going back, the guy that I've known for like almost 8 years, just like an online friend. If you're seeing this, we gotta meet up, okay? Stop fucking avoiding it. You gotta find find a way, dude. It's been too long. Yeah, or else. And so yeah, no, I wouldn't have gotten here without him either, just because I feel like he contributed to a domino effect that was like that. So yep, those are the people.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for coming.